Hello everyone, I am Shanami Mwanya and today let's have the professional education. Number 1. Personal development covers activities that improve awareness and identity. It develops talents and potential, builds human capital and facilitates employability, enhances quality of life, and contributes to the realization of dreams and aspirations. Personal development, therefore, is an example of A. Learning to know, B. Learning to do, C. Learning to live together, D. Learning to be, and E. None of the above. So what do you think is the answer? So the answer is letter D. So when we say learning to know, this involves developing knowledge, skills, literacy, and critical thinking. It helps people understand the world and become open to the knowledge of others. And we say learning to do, this involves vocational skills necessary to carry out a job. And learning to live together, this is the need to develop an understanding of others. So the answer is letter D, learning to be, because based on UNESCO's report, the pillar of learning to be aims to provide self-analytical and social skills to enable individuals to develop their fullest potential psychosocially, affectively, as well as physically for a holistically developed person. With this, personal development, therefore, is an example of the pillar of learning to be. Number 2, what is known as a self-appraisal for professional growth that is acceptable and useful for recognizing weakness and strengths for a new or beginning teacher? A. Self-evaluation, B. Students' evaluation, C. Master teacher's evaluation, D. Principal's evaluation, and E. None of the above. So the answer is letter A. So A. Self-appraisal is synonymous with the term self-evaluation. So some forms of self-evaluation include journal, self-videotape of class performance, teacher's portfolio, and etc. Number 3. What is the key element of the teacher education development program? A. NCBTS, B. RPMS, C. IPPD, D. LED, and E. None of the above. So the keyword here is the key element of the teacher education program. So the answer is letter A. So when we say RPMS, meaning Results-Based Performance Management System, it is a multi-year set of guidelines used by DepEd to evaluate the performance of public school teachers. And when we say IPPD, stands for Individual Plan for Professional Development. It is a tool that helps teachers guide their own learning and development throughout the year. And LED, the licensure examination for teachers, a standardized test that measures the knowledge and skills of prospective teachers in the Philippines. Okay, so the answer is A, NCBTS, or the National Competency-Based Teacher Standards. This is the heart of the Teacher Education Development Program, or the TEDP. It is the key element, and it defines effective teaching as being able to help all types of students learn the different learning goals in the curriculum. It is composed of domains, strengths, and performance indicators. Number 4. Instead of saying unwholesome words, Miss Jazz resorted to frowning upon her students because of their unruly behavior. What did she do to address the misbehavior? A. Nonverbal gesture, B. Proximity control, C. Redirecting student, D. Dialogue, and E. None of the above. What do you think is the answer? The answer is letter A, nonverbal gesture. Okay, so when we say proximity control, it is a strategy that involves moving closer to a student who is causing trouble or about to cause a disruption. And when we say redirecting student, it means helping them focus on the task at hand. And dialogue, a facilitated conversation that allows students to share their perspectives, challenge assumptions, and deepen their understanding of a topic. So the answer is letter A, nonverbal gesture. So the use of nonverbal gestures as a form of low-profile response includes frowning, eye contact, and hand signals. Number 5. Abraham Maslow's concept of self-actualization is one of the elements of A. Learning to know, B. Learning to do, C. Learning to live together, D. Learning to be, and E. None of the above. So again, what is learning to know? Learning to do involves developing knowledge, skills, literacy, and critical thinking. Learning to do, this involves vocational skills necessary to carry out a job. Learning to live together, the need to develop an understanding of others, and learning to be is a process of personal development. So the answer is letter D, learning to be. So, according to Maslow, self-actualization involves fulfilling your potential and becoming all that you can be. Similarly, the goal of the pillar of learning to be also means being able to maximize one's potentials and become well-rounded individuals. Therefore, self-actualization is an example of the pillar of learning to be. Number 6. In applying for a job, an applicant must ensure that his technical skills are in line with the occupation he is applying for. This situation demonstrates what pillar of learning. So our keyword here is technical skills. So A, learning to know, B, learning to do, C, learning to live together, D, learning to be, and E, none of the above. It's obvious, no? So the answer is letter B. So as stated in UNESCO's report, the pillar of learning to do, it's B, learning to do. So the pillar of learning to do implies that learning must transform a certified skills into personal competence. It is assessed by looking at a mix of skills and talents, social behavior, personal initiative, and a willingness to work. Finding a job that is in line with your technical skills is a good example of the pillar of learning to do. Okay? Next, number 7. This theoretical perspective believes that the processes by which students are labeled either as fast or slow learners, gifted or learning disabled, smart or dumb affect the quality as well as the extent and spread of learning. So A, exchange theory, B, labeling theory, C, functionalist theory, D, interaction theory, and E, none of the above. So what do you think is the answer? The answer is letter B. Okay, so when we say exchange theory, this is a sociological and psychological concept that explains how people interact socially by exchanging resources. And functionalist theory, this suggests that society is made up of parts that work together to maintain balance and stability. And the interaction theory, this examines the patterns of actions and reaction is in response to other people. So the answer is letter B, labeling theory. So this theory asserts that the expectations of significant others on the learners determine to a large extent in the behavior of students. Number 8. The following terms are associated with the conflict theory except letter A, competition, B, revolution, C, consensus, D, inequality, and E, none of the above. So the answer is letter C. So C, consensus. This is a general or widespread agreement among all members of a particular society. Contrary to consensus, conflict refers to the clash between ideas, principles, and people. Okay? Number 9. This theoretical perspective is based on the concept of reciprocity. Reciprocal interactions bind people with obligations. So what theory is this? Letter A, exchange theory, B, labeling theory, C, functionalist theory, D, interaction theory, E, none of the above. So the keyword here is reciprocity or reciprocal interactions. Okay, so the answer is exchange theory. Okay, exchange theory is based on the idea of reciprocity or mutual benefit. People behave in such a way that one individual can get something from the other and vice versa. Reciprocal interactions bind people with obligations, and the consequences of such interactions include reward and benefits. And for number 10, it is a field of study and an emerging discipline whose major aim is to create equal educational opportunities from diverse racial, ethnic, social class, and cultural groups. A. Differentiated instruction. B. Multicultural education. C. Consensus. D. Interaction. E. None of the above. So the answer is B. Multicultural education. So what is differentiated instruction? Differentiated instruction is a teaching method that adjusts lessons to meet the needs of the students. When we say consensus, it is a form of decision making that concludes only when all participants reach an agreement. And interaction, the process of people working together to complete a task. So the answer is letter B, multicultural education. So this envisions to transform the school so that male and female students, exceptional students, are students from diverse cultural, social class, racial, and ethnic groups experience an equal opportunity to learn. And for the next slide, let us have Ms. Robio to continue.
So let's proceed to number 11. The founder of the conflict theory is blank. Letter A, Talcott Parsons. B, Karl Marx. C, Emil Durkheim. Letter D, Max Weber. Or letter E, none of the above. So who is the conflict theory? So let's reveal the answer. It's letter B, Karl Marx. So Karl Marx is the man behind the conflict theory. So he asserted that because the class system separates the employers from workers and workers from the benefits of their own labor, class struggle is inevitable. So next, what type of education can best prepare the global teacher towards a limitless and boundless world? A, formal education. B, inclusive education. C, alternative education. Letter D, multicultural education. Or letter E, none of the above. So the correct answer is letter D, multicultural education. So according to James Banks 2001, the primary goal of multicultural education is to transform the school so that male and female students, exceptional students, and students from diverse cultural, social class, racial, and ethnic groups experience an equal opportunity to learn. Next, number 13. Which among the following is the most essential in maintaining peace and order in the school? Letter A, academic curriculum. Letter B, campus cleanliness. Letter C, community participation. Letter D, rules of discipline. Or letter E, none of the above. So what is the answer? Letter V, rules of discipline. So when we say rules of discipline, it is one of the vital components in achieving the third pillar of education, which is the learning to live together. Next, we have 14. Which among the following is a form of emotional bullying which should be stopped? A, ridiculing. B, punching. C, spanking. D, pinching. Or letter E, none of the above. So the correct answer is letter A, ridiculing. So why it's ridiculing? Because punching, spanking, and pinching are the forms of physical bullying. And only ridiculing is a form of emotional bullying. So that's why A is the correct answer. Let's proceed to number 15. A teacher shall base the evaluation of the learner's work only in A, attendance, character, merit and quality of academic performance. B, attendance, beauty, merit and quality of academic performance. Letter C, attendance, merit and quality of academic performance. Letter D, merit and quality of academic performance. Or letter E, none of the above. So what do you think is the answer? So the answer is letter D, merit and quality of academic performance. So why? It's because according to Article 8, Section 6 of the Code of Ethics for Professional Teachers, A teacher shall base the evaluation of the learner's work only on merit and quality of academic performance. So next, number 16, which is true of let passers? Letter A, every let passers shall be required to take the professional oath before practicing as a professional teacher. B, taking the professional oath before practicing as a professional teacher is optional for let passer. Letter C, the professional oath can be taken before any professional teacher. Letter D, the taking of oath must be within 1 month from passing the let. Or letter E, none of the above. So what do you think is the correct answer? The correct answer is letter A. Every let passer shall be required to take the professional oath before practicing as a professional teacher. Why? Because according to Article 3, Section 18 of Republic Act 7836, every let passer shall be required to take his professional oath before practicing as a professional teacher. So next, let's proceed to number 17. What is at the heart of the Teacher Education and Development Program, or the TEDP? Letter A, NCBTS. Letter B, RPMS. Letter C, IPPD. Letter D, LET. Or letter E, none of the above. So the correct answer is letter A, NCBTS. What is NCBTS, guys? So when I say NCBTS, it is the National Competency-Based Teacher Standards, which is the heart of the teacher education and development program. So it is also the key element of the TEDPT. So it defines effective teaching as being able to help all types of students learn the different learning goals and the curriculum. So let's proceed to number 18. This law makes some amendments of certain sections of Republic Act 7836, such as the qualification requirements of teacher applicants, registration, and exemption. Letter A, Republic Act 4670. Letter B, Republic Act 1015720. Letter C, Republic Act 10533. Letter D, Republic Act 9293. Or letter E, none of the above. So what is the answer? So the answer is letter D, Republic Act 9293. So this act amends specific sections of Republic Act 7836, such as Section 15, Section 26, and Section 31. So next, when should teachers support one another? A, at all times for whatever cause. B, when they dialogued with administration. C, when there is rift among teachers. D, when the best interest of the learners is at stake in a controversy. Or letter E, none of the above. So what do you think is the correct answer? Letter D, when the best interest of the learners is at stake in a controversy. So according to Article 5, Section 1 of the Code of Ethics for Professional Teachers, teachers shall at all times be imbued with a spirit of professional loyalty, mutual confidence, and faith in one another, self-sacrifice for the common good, and full cooperation with colleagues. So when the best interest of the learners, the school, or the profession is at stake in any controversy, the teacher shall support one another. So next, number 20, what Republic Act punishes any person who practices the teaching profession in the Philippines without having first a license as a professional teacher? A, Republic Act 1006, B, Republic Act 7796, C, Republic Act 7836, letter D, Republic Act 7722, or letter E, none of the above. So the correct answer is Letter C, Republic Act 7836. So why? Because according to Article 4, Section 27 of the Republic Act 7836, except as otherwise allowed under this act, no person shall practice or offer to practice the teaching profession in the Philippines or be appointed as teacher to any position calling for a teaching position without having previously obtained a valid certificate of registration and a valid professional license from that commission.
Okay, so now let's start with number 21. What term describes the process of assigning numerical scores to student work to determine their level of achievement? Choices are A. Assessment, B. Evaluation, C. Grading, D. Scoring. Answer is letter C. Grading. This is because grading specifically involves assigning numerical or letter scores to measure achievement. Assessment, on the other hand, letter A, is a broader process of gathering learning data, not necessarily assigning scores. Evaluation involves making judgments, but not always include assigning scores. And D, scoring, refers to marking performance, but does not imply assigning formal grades. Alright, so now let's proceed to number 22. Which field focuses on the study of human culture through ancient artifacts and remains? Choices are A. Sociology, B. Archaeology, C. Anthropology, D. Ethnology. Answer is letter B. Archaeology. This is because archaeology studies ancient cultures through artifacts and remains. Sociology, on the other hand, examines modern social structures and behaviors. Anthropology, letter C. Anthropology studies human broadly, not just ancient artifacts. And letter D, ethnology analyzes present-day cultural differences and similarities. Now let's proceed to number 23. Which learning theory emphasizes reinforcement given immediately after a desired response? Choices are A. Operant conditioning, B. Social learning, C. Cognitive development theory, or D. Experiential learning. Answer is letter A. Operant conditioning. Why letter A? This is because operant conditioning focuses on reinforcement to strengthen desired behaviors. While letter B, social learning theory, this emphasizes learning through observation and imitation. Cognitive development theory, on the other hand, focuses on logical thinking development over time. And letter D, experiential learning, highlights learning through experience, not reinforcement. Okay, so now let's proceed to number 24. Number 24, encouraging students to visualize scenes when reading stories support which memory principle? Choices are multisensory integration, B. Visual imagery, C. Semantic encoding, D. Episodic memory. Answer would be letter B. Visual imagery. Visual imagery involves forming mental pictures to improve memory retention. Multisensory integration, letter A, combines multiple sensory inputs, not just visual images. Letter C, on the other hand, semantic encoding, involves encoding meaning, not visual representations. And letter D, episodic memory, relates to recalling personal experiences, not visualizing text. I hope it's clear. Let's proceed to number 25. 25. According to Vygotsky, which factor is most crucial for cognitive development? Letter A, independent exploration. B, collaborative learning. C, logical reasoning. Or letter D, social interaction. Answer would be D, social interaction. Social interaction, it's because Vygotsky stressed learning through interaction with others. It needs interaction. A, on the other hand, independent exploration, while it is important, it is secondary to social interaction. And then letter B, collaborative learning. It supports interaction but focuses on group activities. Then C, logical reasoning. Logical thinking emerges from social interaction. So therefore, social interaction is indeed the most important. Letter D. Now let's have 26. What is the term for the educational support given to students to help them achieve tasks they initially cannot complete independently? Letter A, zone of proximal development. Letter B, scaffolding. Letter C, instructional support. D, active facilitation. Answer is letter B, scaffolding. Scaffolding, it is temporary support given to help students master tasks. Temporary. Therefore, it is the answer. It's not letter A, zone of proximal development, because zone of proximal development, or ZPD, refers to tasks learners can do with help, not support itself. Then letter C, instructional support, it is broader, not necessarily temporary or specific. Then letter D, active facilitation, it involves general guidance, not structured, temporary support. Now, let's have 27. A learning portfolio is best used to evaluate which of the following? A, short-term memory recall. B, writing progress over time. C, multiple choice exam skills. Letter D, oral communication skills. Answer would be letter B, writing progress over time. Letter B is the answer because writing progress over time, portfolios effectively track growth through collected work samples. So letter B is correct. Short-term memory recall, portfolios focus on long-term skills, not recall. And letter C, multiple choice exam skills, they do not measure standardized testing skills, portfolio to be exact. Then oral communication skills, they are better suited for written work and not oral skills. So let's proceed to number 8. What is the purpose of a diagnostic test in education? Purpose of diagnostic test. A, to evaluate overall student performance. B, to identify specific learning challenges. C, to measure learning retention. D, to rank students by ability. Answer would be letter B, to identify specific learning challenges. Letter B, because in identifying specific learning languages, diagnostic test is used to pinpoint areas of difficulty for targeted support. It is not letter A, to evaluate overall student performance, because diagnostic tests focus on specific challenges, not overall performance. It is also not letter C, because diagnostic tests addresses by summative assessment. Measure learning retention is addresses by summative assessment. Then letter D, to rank students by ability, they do not rank but identify individual struggles. Alright, so now let's proceed to 29. What type of test measures students' performance against predetermined standards? What type of test measures students' performance against predetermined standards? Choices are A. Norm reference standard test, B. Criterion reference test, C. Aptitude test, or D. Personality test. Answer is letter B. Criterion reference test. Criterion reference test because it evaluates mastery of skills based on fixed standards. It is not a norm reference test because it compares performance to peers, not standards. And letter C, aptitude test, it is not because it measures potential, not mastery. And letter D, it's not personality test because it assesses traits, not academic standards. So therefore, we have letter B, criterion reference test. Now let's have 30. Which instructional strategy is most effective for bodily kinesthetic learners? Choices are watching instructional videos, engaging in hands-on experiments, C. Listening to audio lectures, or D. Reading textbook independently. Answer is letter B. Engaging in hands-on experiments. It is engaging in hands-on experiment because kinesthetic learners excel through physical interaction. It is not letter A, watching instructional videos, because videos cater more to visual learners. Then it's also not listening to audio lecture because lectures suit auditory learners, not kinesthetic ones. And it is not reading textbook independently because reading benefits verbal learners, not those who prefer physical activities. And that is all from 21 to 30. Let's have 31 to the next number.
Okay, now let's proceed to question number 31. Which of the following helps improve the reliability of a test material? Letter A, increase the number of items. B, use electronic machines for scoring. C, never reuse the same materials to same students. Letter D, increase the number of choices. Or letter D, none of the above. So what do you think is the answer, guys? Which helps improve the reliability of a test material? It is letter A. It increase the number of items. So let's rationalize at why it is letter A, increase the number of items, because increasing the number of items on a test generally improves its reliability because it provides a broader sample of content knowledge and reduces the impact of guessing or isolated errors. So a larger number of items allows for a more accurate assessment of the learner's true abilities or knowledge. Okay? Now let's proceed to question number 32. According to Sigmund Freud, this is the stage in a child's life wherein he learns to realize the differences of males and females. It, is it letter A, genital stage, B, anal stage, C, latency stage, letter D, phallic stage, or letter E, none of the above? So, what do you think is the answer, guys? That where a child learns to realize the diverse, or I mean, that realize where a child learns to realize the differences of males and females. It is letter D, phallic stage. So let's rationalize that. Why is it letter D? Because it in the phallic stage, it is where child's life wherein he learns to realize the differences of males and females. So if yes, that's it. So now let's proceed to question number 33. So when teachers conduct a series of evaluations to determine the extent of teaching, what must be implemented? Is it letter A, assess curriculum, letter B, hidden curriculum, letter C, learned curriculum, or letter D, taught curriculum? What do you think is the answer, guys? It is letter It is letter D, taught curriculum. So, because when teachers conduct a series of evaluations to determine the extent of teaching, they are typically assessing the taught curriculum, where taught curriculum is the actual content and lessons that were delivered to the students during the instructional process. So, this helps determine whether the material was effectively taught and whether the students learned the intended content. Now let's proceed to question 34. Only licensed teachers are hired in the public school. Is it letter A, vocation, letter B, mission, C, profession, or letter D, calling? What do you think is the answer? It is letter C. Teaching as a profession means an individual has to undergo formal training and education and meet all the necessary qualifications of a professional teacher as required by the law before he or she can practice the teaching profession. So, earning a license as a professional teacher class is a concrete example of teaching as a profession. Okay? So now let's proceed to question 35. So when I grow up, I cannot imagine doing anything else but to be an elementary teacher, says Anna, a 6-year-old child. Is it letter A, vocation, letter B, mission, letter C, profession, or letter D, occupation? So what do you think is the answer? It is letter A, vocation. So let's rationalize it. Why is it letter A, vocation? Because teaching as a vocation means an individual has the noble calling, deep love, and inner motivation to become or to be a teacher. So dreaming to become a teacher, even at an early age, demonstrates vocation, a passion for teaching. So that is why the answer is letter A, vocation. Now let's proceed to question number 36. So during this period, individuals with disabilities were made fun of and mocked for their deformities and behaviors. Is it letter A, early beginnings of special education? Letter B, era of extermination? Letter C, era of ridicule? Letter D, era of asylum. What do you think is the answer? Is it it is letter C, era of ridicule. So why? Let's rationalize it because during the era of ridicule, individuals with disabilities were often made fun of, mocked, and subjected to ridicule due to their perceived differences in behavior and appearance. So in this period, it was marked by a lack of understanding and compassion for people with disabilities, leading to social stigma and mistreatment. So, yes. Now let's proceed to question number 37. Which concept refers to the idea that learning to read and write is a gradual process built upon many small steps during early childhood? Is it letter A, emergent literacy, B, functional literacy, C, academic literacy, or letter D, innate literacy? What do you think is the answer? It is letter A, emergent literacy. So let's rationalize that. Why is it emergent literacy? Emergent literacy class refers to the skills, knowledge, and attitudes that are developmental precursors to reading and writing. So it is the idea that learning to read and write begins at a very early age and long before formal education starts, and is built gradually through experiences with books or storytellings and print in a child's environment. So this concept highlights the importance of early exposure to literacy-rich activities and helping children develop foundational literacy skills over time. That is why it is letter A, emergent literacy. Okay, so now let's proceed to question number 38. Upon which philosophy is a teacher practice when he takes into consideration the three learning types, the auditory, the visual, and kinesthetic learner of student? Is it letter A, essentialism? Is it letter B, naturalism? Is it letter C, progressivism? Or letter D, hedonism? What do you think is the answer? It is letter C, progressivism. So let's rationalize that. Why is it letter C, progressivism? Progressivism, class, is a philosophy of education that emphasizes active learning, student-centered, and addressing the diverse needs of students. So a teacher who takes into consideration the different learning types, which are the auditory, the visual, and kinesthetic learner, is a is practicing progressivism, as this approach recognizes that students learn in a different ways and encourages teaching methods that cater to this individual learning style. So progressivism supports the idea of adapting teaching strategies to meet the developmental and learning needs of students, promoting a more holistic and personalized education. So if the teacher, gani class, practicing the three what we call this, the three learning types of students, which are the auditory, the visual, and kinesthetic learner, teacher is practicing, or kanang he or she undergone a philosophy of education which is a progressivism. Okay, because when we say progressivism, it is a philosophy of education that emphasizes active learning, student-centered approaches, and addressing the diverse needs of students. So from the word, the diverse needs of students. So the teacher ensures that all of her students ay iyang makater regardless sa ilahang different learning types in learning. Okay? So that's it. Now let's proceed to question number 39. In what situation will the learners be more likely to internalize and follow classroom rules? A, when the teacher gives additional points for those who follow the rules. Letter B, when the teacher clearly explains the rule she prepared. Letter C, when the teacher knows the punishment for not following the rules. Or letter D, when the learners participate in the rule-making process. So, what do you think, class? A situation, given the following situation, what do you think is more likely to internalize and follow classroom rules? It is letter D. So what? It is letter D. Sorry, I have a nagka-typo ko this rationalization, but it's actually letter D, class. It's letter D when the learners participate in the rule-making process. Because when the students are engaged in class in the rule-making process, the more they appreciate and follow the rules. Okay, the principle of ownership is the reason for this. Okay? So, it's letter D. Letter D na siya. Okay? Namali lang kong input sa letter, but actually, it's letter D. Sorry for that. Okay, now let's proceed to question number 40. Infants would usually communicate their intentions, desires, and demands by uttering single words like dada, mama, mimi, and the like. These one-word utterances are termed A, cooing, B, bubbling, C, hollow phrases, or letter D, telegraphic speech. What do you think, guys? It is letter C, hollow phrases, because when we say hollow phrases. These are single words used by infants to convey a larger meaning, such as dada or mama, to express a desire for intention. So these one word differences typically represent a whole sentence or idea like I want my dad or I want to be held. So that's it. And for the next question, um, I may call on Miss. Wait for a while. Let me check. Okay, for question number 41, I may call on Mr. Eman to proceed. Thank you.
And now, let's have questions 41. What type of education can be best prepare a global teacher for a truly limitless and boundless world? A. Formal education. B. Inclusive education. C. Alternative education. Or D. Multicultural education. And now let's have the answer for question 41. So the answer for question 41 is letter D, multicultural education. So let's rationalize why it's letter D. So according to James Bank's 2001, the primary goal of multicultural education is to transform the school so that the exceptional students and students from diverse cultural, social class, racial, and ethnic groups experience an equal opportunity to learn. So the answer for 41 is letter D, multicultural education. And now let's proceed to question 42. These two presidents are responsible for the implementation of K-12 in the Philippines. A. Ferdinand Marcos and Corazon Aquino. B. Joseph Estrada and Gloria Arroyo. C. Benigno Aquino III and Rodrigo Duterte. Or letter D. Gloria Arroyo and Benigno Aquino III. So the answer for question 42 is letter D. Gloria Arroyo and Benigno Aquino III. So let's rationalize why it's letter D. So President Arroyo signed the ASEAN Economic Integration Agreement in 2008, which required a K-12 system for all Asian countries. In 2012, President Aquino signed Republic Act 10157 and in 2013, Republic Act 10533, which added kindergarten and senior high school in the Philippine educational system respectively. So the answer for 42 is Gloria Arroyo and Benigno Aquino III. Now let's have question 43. During an online synchronous class, Ms. Asuncion greets her students cheerfully. She allows the time for the students to know more about their classmates through interesting polls. She also provides opportunities for the students to work together and collaborate. She uses the reaction buttons, the smiley, the heart, or cup to appreciate the students' effort and excitement to participate. She was able to attend with essential element A. Teaching presence, B. Cognitive presence, C. Social presence, or D. Community presence. So the answer for question 43 is letter C. Social presence. So let's have the rationalization. So, social presence refers to the ability of participants to engage and connect with each other in an online learning environment, creating a sense of being present with others. In the scenario, Ms. Asuncion is fostering interaction and engagement by allowing time for students to to know each other, encouraging collaboration, and using reaction buttons to acknowledge and build a strong social connection among the students, making them feel more comfortable and involved in the online class. And now let's proceed to question 44. So during the early years of Ramos' administration, and even before that, the Department of Education, Culture, and Sports oversaw the entire educational system from elementary to graduate school. This changed that A. Enhanced Basic Education Act, B. Higher Education Act, C. An Act of Professionalizing Teaching, or letter D. Educational Act of 1982. So the answer for question 44 is letter B, Higher Education Act. So the higher, let's have the rationalizations. So the Higher Education Act of 1994 created the Commission on Higher Education, which oversees all higher education and degree granting institutions. So the DEX or the DepEd was left with elementary and secondary educations. So the answer for question 44 is letter B, Higher Education Act. And now let's proceed to question 45. The Code of Ethics for Professional Teachers provides guidelines on acceptable teaching behavior. These are all tolerable except A. Claiming others' work to be yours. B. Occasional drinking that does not lead to drunkenness. Letter C. Having a romantic relationship with a student. Or letter D. Discovering research findings that are damaging to the country. So now let's have the answer for question 45. So the answer for question 45 is letter A, claiming others' work to be yours. So let's have the rationalization. Claiming others' work as your own is a plagiarism. It is totally banned in the Code of Ethics for professional teachers. So the answer for 45 is letter A, claiming others' work to be yours. And now let's proceed to question 46. What kind of teacher is Chris when he looked upon as a wise and purposely probing students by artful questioning? A. Apprenticeship style. B. Town meeting style. C. Traditional style. Or D. Socratic style. So the answer for number 46 is letter D, Socratic style. So let's have the rationalizations. What is letter D, the Socratic style? So the Socratic style is a question and answer type of teaching. The traditional style is militaristic and teacher-centered. The apprentice style is learning from the student observed from the teacher. So the answer for number 46 is Socratic style, letter D. And now let's proceed for question 47. Teacher K wants to achieve a more interactive classroom. Which among the following can foster interaction? A. Inductive lesson. B. Deductive lesson. C. Inquiry lesson. Or letter D. Sit work. So the answer for number 47 is letter C, inquiry lesson. So let's solve the rationalizations with letter C. So inquiry lesson, by its very nature, promotes interaction with the other options cannot provide. So the answer for number 47 is letter C, inquiry lessons. It can foster interaction. And now let's proceed for number 48. Among the following, which an examples of a metacognitive level of questions? One, what did I learn from this lesson? Two, how will I learn from this, more from this? Or number three, how can I better arrive at the solutions? And four, why is the lesson important to myself? We have letter A, one only, B, two, three, and four only, C, one and two only, or letter D, one, two, three, and four. So the answer for number 48 is letter D, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So what is letter D? Because 1, 2, 3, and 4, because metacognitive questions, primary concern is the self. So the answer for number 48 is letter D, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now let's proceed to the question 49. Teacher Lisa considers herself mainly as a facilitator of learning and not a walking encyclopedia. Teachers Lisa's approach to teaching can be said as blank. A. Mastery centered. B. Traditional. C. Student centered. Or D. Teacher centered. So the answer for number 49 is letter C, student-centered. So let's have rationalizations. Why is it student-centered? So student-centered learning, or SCL, is an educational innovation which puts emphasis on the learner and not so much on the teacher. The teacher accepts it in order to provide better learning opportunities for students, or he or she must be a facilitator of learning and not the sole source of information. So the answer for number 49 is letter C, student centered. And I will proceed to the last number 50. The teacher who spends more than what is earned, thus becoming a vulnerable to loan sharks, lacks blank. A. Financial literacy. B. Cyber literacy. Or letter C. Eco literacy. Or letter D. Media literacy. So the answer for number 50 is financial literacy. So we have the rationalizations. We have financial literacy is the education an understanding of various financial areas, including topics related to managing personal finance, money, and investing. This focuses on the ability to manage personal finance matters in an efficient manner, and it includes the knowledge of making appropriate decisions about personal finance, such as investing, real estate, paying for college, budgeting, retirement, and tax planning. So the answer for the last number 50 is financial literacy. So thank you for listening, and I hope you learned something new today. Thank you, everyone.